Hey guys, Eric Sargent, General Manager at Ed Martin Toyota in Noblesville, Indiana, and today we're going to show off the REDARC Electronics GoBlock installed in an LC250. Let's get started. This is a portable dual battery setup. So it's basically going to be a 100 amp hour battery that has an attached 50 amp DC-DC built into it. So it's unlike a normal traditional 100 amp hour battery that's going to have an inverter built into it. This is going to be specifically designed to be used as an actual dual battery setup. So I'll try and explain that to you. So first and foremost, what we have here, a 100 amp hour battery that has some additional connections. And you'll notice right here in the front of the battery, there's a 50 amp Anderson connection. And so what you can use that for, there's a couple things you can use it for, but the main thing that you would want to use it for, being a portable dual battery setup, is you would wire your aftermarket accessories, whether it's like an air compressor or maybe all of your lights on the vehicle, your front light, your ceiling lights. Instead of bringing those to your crank battery and have the exposure of, maybe draining your battery and getting yourself stranded, you can run all your auxiliaries directly to this battery. And then this battery will be charging directly off the alternator at up to 50 amps. So when you're driving this vehicle, it's going to be able to top off from 0 to 100 in less than 2 hours. You can charge off solar, of course, but also you can charge off an AC, which there's a little AC trickle charger right here, but you're going to want to 99.9% of the time you're going to be running this off DC directly off the alternator, because once this car starts, it's going to be charging at 50 amps, which is incredibly fast. There's not another battery on the market that's going to charge that fast. Everything is going to be much more slower, going through a 12-volt outlet. So the other thing that makes this a particularly special battery, and I mentioned that it's a portable dual battery setup, and the reason I say that is because you can move this from any vehicle or boat or campsite or your side-by-side or your wife's car, or if you have multiple overlanding vehicles, one battery. And then all you have to do is just hardwire it in with a dock. And you don't even have to use a dock, actually. You can actually avoid it. But what makes this thing kind of special in my eyes is it has the dock. And the reason I think that that's so incredibly special is because when you have a big battery and you put it inside your vehicle, it's actually extremely, I'm always a little nervous that the battery is actually going to get jostled around and maybe damage the vehicle or damage the battery itself. This is an extremely overbuilt, rugged battery that's designed to be in a 4x4 vehicle and just be jostled around and removed. So this dock that we're looking at here, it has a steel base and a steel bracket arm, and then it has a steel hook that's right here that latches into the actual device, and this is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to rattle. It's very tight and firm, and it's not going to shift at all. So when you want to pull this battery out, it has these handles that you can pop up, and then you just pull up, and then you can take it out and again move it to your other vehicle, or you could even bring it back into your home if you need to use it as emergency power. But these are the connections that are going to connect directly to the docking station. And if you want to kind of take a look at that dock itself, it's just bolted to the drawer system that we have in this 250, just mounted with six bolts, and so it's not going to go anywhere. And then to put it back in, all you got to do is just kind of, this one is set back a little further, so it's a little bit more challenging, but just pick it up. It's about 40 pounds. You want to put it in on the front first. And you're totally locked in. And then to hook the fridge back in, we're just going to use this proprietary fridge plug right here. And then we'll screw that in. And we're good. And so you'll notice that it does have a merit socket, 15 amps. You have your fridge socket, which also is 15 amps. And then you have a 12-volt outlet, which is 10 amps right there. And then you'll have your trickle charger. And then it has this battery level. You can kind of see these different additional codes and such for diagnostic. And then on this side, you'll have your 50 amp Anderson for your output that you would use as your dual battery setup. Has a nice securing strap here just to kind of Velcro, and then you have additional USB ports. So on the back of this, you're going to have a kill switch. So if you're going to be storing it for a long period of time, you won't need to worry about it draining itself. You can kind of keep it in a topped off status 100% of the time. We're going to leave it on. And then on this side, you're going to have another 50 amp Anderson input. And this is where you're going to use for solar to charge up if you had this at camp. Or you could use this if you wanted to charge through alternator without the docking station. And again, we have the docking station, so this isn't something that we need unless we were using solar. But if you didn't have the dock, then you would just run this direct with your start to the alternator, and you would charge directly off of that at 50 amps, which is going to be incredibly quick. Another thing that you can use this for too is the battery recovery accessory, which I don't have here today, but we do have one that's on order. And basically it's a little jumper dongle that's going to have a 50 amp Anderson here, and then on the other end it's going to be alligator clips, and then you can basically just attach it to any 12 volt battery on a car that has a dead battery, and then you can open up the app on the phone and essentially start the sequence for recovery, and it'll transfer for 15 minutes power from the GoBlock directly to your battery, so the car will start. Not only will it start it like a jumping cable, but it'll actually recover the battery. You're actually putting power over there instead of just giving it additional room to suck the cold cranking amps out of it. You're actually moving the power over for recovery purposes. So all in all, you're buying this battery for the ruggedness of it, the ability to use it as a true dual battery setup, of course the portability of it as well, but also it's made in Australia. There's not another battery out there that, to my knowledge, that is not made in China. So you're buying an Australian product from a company that really just does 12 volt electronics, as opposed to a company that just does lots of different accessories. So this is really what they know and what they do. And it's just being ultra rugged. So I kind of mentioned that it has a wiring kit that you can get with this particular bundle that we have. And they do sell it completely independently. So if you wanted to run it for other vehicles, it's basically cables and a junction block that you can use to connect your wires, which would really be extremely handy, especially if you're going to be removing it from one vehicle to another vehicle. So it'll come with everything that you're looking at here. We have wired it to our Blue Seas fuse box down here. We actually use a Busman 60 amp fuse for the GoBlock right here. And we've pre-wired for a solar blanket or solar panel. So that's already kind of just got some service loop and bundled and tucked away underneath here. You obviously can see the state of charge by looking at the LED indicators on the unit. But since we have it tucked away so far back here, we really can't see without kind of getting our head in there. So it has this beautiful app. And this is just your REDARC Red Vision app. This is one of those apps that if you've had any REDARC electronics in the past, you've probably seen this app. It's the same app that they use for various, Manager 30 and some of the other BCDC products. But so we have this paired via Bluetooth to the dock, and right now it's got a 25 days till based on the current load, and this is only pulling 0.1 amps as it sits right now. The only thing that we have pulling off of this is the Dometic battery, or the Dometic dual zone fridge freezer. This is a 75 liter fridge freezer, and it is already at operating temperature. It's at 34 and 37. So the room temperature right now is probably in the 50s. So it's really not, it's not really even running for the most part. It's pulling just minimal draw off of it. So based on the current ambient temperatures and the load, we could run for 26 days on just this fridge right now. Now if we open it up, let some of the cool air out, obviously if it gets hot outside, it's going to change a little bit, but it will do it dynamically. So we have a couple other things on here. You can see how it's charging, and right now the car's off, so it's not charging at all. We don't have a solar panel plugged into it, although we could through the 50 amp Anderson on the back. We've pre-wired this car for that through the dock station. You can do it through alternator, of course, and that's probably the way that you're going to want to do that almost every single time, because although it does have AC, most cars aren't going to have an inverter built into it. This car actually does, so you could trickle charge off AC, but it's actually a lot faster on the car itself. It runs, I think you can charge up to like 40 amps with the alternator running, so that's pretty cool. Right now, it's going to tell you your voltage and your battery status temperature as well. So. That's all done through the REDARC Red Vision app. If you guys like this video or this modification, please hit thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for future Land Cruiser content. And of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, ask in the comment section below and we'll do our best to answer.